Hey guys, and thanks for hopping on. This is a live version of a Sincerely Shakti episode for my vlog. So, if this is your first time hopping on, my name is Shakti. I am the founder of Wellness Mama Shakti and also of the blog site sincerelyshakti.com. You can find those on either of my pages, on my professional like page, Wellness Mama Shakti, or my personal Facebook profile. So, thanks for hopping on. I usually pre-record these videos, but today I'm going to do it live in case anybody really feels like they need to hear this message. This is a very inspired message as it came from a learning experience that I recently had with people in my life that I care about. And it was such a valuable experience from everything that happened in the experience that I felt a need to make it into a video after my friend suggested that I do it. So I'm going to share with you a situation that happened to me, and then I'm going to go into the actual message portion just to make it more relatable. And I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory. I have pretty extensive training in communication and conflict intervention through a foundation called Satvatov. I had the honor of doing many of their programs, from their beginning courses to a life mastery program, which took us about 7 months to complete, if I remember correctly. And the foundation of those seminars was heavily communication based, and it was all about transcending conflict. And I will never forget the feedback that I received from one of my mentors at a point in time when I was really broken down. I think if you've graduated from the Satvatov seminars, this is going to make you laugh, and if you haven't, it should make you curious, because it's definitely worth the experience. But you get to a point within the depths of these seminars where you really start to unravel your ego, and any egoic thought or behavior that you were clinging to desperately for life before you got there will be destroyed before your eyes. And it's a very humbling experience, and it requires a tremendous amount of vulnerability and receptivity to be able to live through it in a positive way. And after a series of those events, I received feedback from one of my mentors where he said that I had a remarkable way of creating intimacy out of conflict. And I didn't understand how profound that feedback was until now, when, once again, I'm living through a situation that was conflicting for me, and I managed to create something really positive out of it. And so situation was very simple. I had a piece of art that was used by someone else that is a friend of mine, and I wasn't asked permission to use this piece of art. I wasn't asked for guidance or any sort of advice. It was just taken and used as their own. And when I saw that, as an artist, I felt immediately hurt by that. I think if you're an artist, you can really relate to that sentiment of feeling like, wait a minute, I put so much time and energy into creating something, and suddenly it's being used by someone else who did not create it, and it's used to promote their work, right? So I recognized the feeling immediately. I decided to contact this person who happens to be a friend of mine and let them know, like, hey, I just want you to understand, like, what's happening for me right now. I noticed that you are using this particular piece of art that I created pretty much exactly. And as an artist, I felt hurt when I saw that. And I made the example, it's like you writing a book and someone else publishing it with their name on it. And I just wanted to let you know that I'm not angry, I'm not upset. I just, moving forward, would really appreciate being asked, or being, helping you with tailoring whatever you're working on, just not having my stuff taken, and Of course, my friend apologized and was really apologetic for it and didn't even, think about the fact that that's what happened. And I then offered, to mentor them with content creation, which is something that I really love to do. And they were really grateful and really appreciative. And later, the more we talked, she brought up the fact that she was really afraid when I first wrote to her, because from her experience in her relationships with other women, it's always been so negative or so catty that when she saw me writing to her about this particular subject matter, she immediately freaked out internally because she thought that she had ruined a friendship that she really valued. And I then said to her, I always look at situations with the eyes of how do I make this into a winning situation? And once again, this goes back to the feedback I received of creating intimacy out of conflict. And I uncovered in my conversation with her something that I deeply do believe, that conflict is not a problem. Conflict is a call to action. It's not the conflict that matters. It's what happens after the conflict that matters. Conflict exists every day because we are living in contrast all the time. Things happen that we don't like. People say things that we don't like. Situations come up that we don't like. And that's part of being alive. But how we respond to that conflict is a call to action to us. It's a direct call for us to address the situation with a certain perspective. Something I took out of Savatov that I will never, ever, ever forget, and stems directly from that piece of feedback of turning conflict into deep intimacy, is how can I turn a situation into a win? Even if it hurts, even if it's painful, even if I'm upset, even though I'm hurt, how do I turn this into a win, a gift, a pearl, something that is of use and create greater relationship instead of greater space? And I use this with my husband, I use this with my friendships, I use this with my colleagues. I always try to look at conflict as a meeting point and an opportunity to create greater intimacy and greater relationship between myself and another person. I never look at it as an opportunity to create more divide or more resistance or more space. And as a result of that, I've had really beautiful interactions during times of intense crisis that could have gone a really negative way. And this is a learned behavior. I have spent a lot of time honing this craft, particularly in my marriage. I deeply, truly value harmony in my marriage. So I often look at our moments of difficulty and I ask myself, how can I bring greater intimacy, greater tenderness, greater awareness to this moment of conflict instead of pushing this person further away from me and creating more distance? So that is my message and what I want to leave you guys with, that conflict is not a problem, and wanting a life with no conflict is not a solution. The solution is to ask yourself, how do I create a win out of this conflict? How do I respond to this conflict such that I build this relationship even stronger versus I push myself away from my relationships to a greater extent? I think that's super, super important. And if you continuously ask yourself that question and you are very present with that energy, you will always think of the correct way to respond to a difficult situation. You will always know the appropriate way to address a situation like the one that I lived in or a marriage situation, because your intention will be coming from intimacy building instead of division building, right? So hopefully that inspires you to change your perspective on conflict and to address certain areas in your life right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, my name is Shakti. I'm the founder of Wellness Mama Shakti and sincerelyshakti.com. You are welcome to that site and that blog at any time. Thanks so much for spending the afternoon with me.